Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. So Tranglo is a company that Ripple does own 40% of stake in, and they have been a big user of on-demand liquidity. They pioneer on-demand liquidity for unlocking revenue, streamlining payments, you name it. But this is also a global cross-border payments hub. And they just announced on April 8th, so just yesterday alone, exciting news, our direct-to-wallet cross-border payment solution is live. A game changer for remittance partners with an 8x increase in transactions seen by early e-wallet adopters. Now, we already know that back in 2022, March 1st, 2022, Tranglo enables Ripple's on-demand liquidity service across its 25 payment corridors. Now, during that time, Tranglo wasn't massive at this time, if I'm going to be honest, but this is when we also got the announcement of on-demand liquidity becoming a big deal for a lot of these major financial services, specifically Tranglo and other partners of Ripple. But even during this time, again, a lot of people were still kind of hating on XRP. They were hating on the whole vision here around, Tranglo, because they're like, oh, well, are they really utilizing on-demand liquidity because the price of XRP is not going up significantly? It's not doing this, it's not doing that. Regardless of what people will say, it's kind of ridiculous. When you look at some of these companies like Tranglo, they're just one company of many. But even here, we could see that, on-demand liquidity itself for remittances in terms of Tranglo, it's a big deal. So we have our remittance partners want to enter markets as fast as possible at the lowest cost. On-demand liquidity offers just that. They can start sending payments without locking in funds at different financial intermediaries, which can be costly and time-consuming. Remittance businesses that sign up for on-demand liquidity also gain access to both Tranglo Connect and RippleNet, allowing them to meet increasingly diverse payment needs better. So on-demand liquidity is allowing for a door of opportunity to be unlocked for not only just, P2P, but even businesses themselves. This is a very big deal. And like I said, this isn't a massive company, or at least it wasn't back in 2022. We could actually see that this comes after the success of its pilot on-demand liquidity deployment in September 2021, with 250,000 transactions worth about roughly 48 million processed in the first 100 days. But that was just a pilot, if you will. Today, we know that Tranglo is a big giant. They started to kind of morph into a much larger name. If we go over to the About section, for an example, they kind of give us the breakdown. But if you look down here at the numbers, we have over 800 partners, 46 million transactions, and 11.81 billion in terms of transaction volume. Again, it's not like a massive amount of money, but this is just one name. As I've always said, just focus on the fact that this is just one name behind on-demand liquidity. But over here, we have the announcement from the 8th. So we have leading fintech specialist Tranglo has announced an expansion of its cross-border payment network, enabling instant and direct transfers to move more than 30 e-wallets. And this is with 24/7, 365 availability. And we even see down here that our data shows that cross-border transactions to e-wallets have doubled since 2021 across the board. E-wallet payouts are outpacing banking channels this year, with some corridors like GCC to Pakistan experiencing a surge of nearly 400% in transactions. It's all about helping businesses create more value. For example, one of our biggest partners in the UAE saw an 8-fold increase in transactions to Pakistan and Indonesia after adding our e-wallet payout service. This growth opportunity presented by e-wallet cannot be overstated. Now, also down here, we have that digital wallets have experienced exponential growth, especially after the pandemic. Valued at $9.5 billion in 2023, the global e-wallet market is expected to grow at a CAGR of 28%. That's absolutely insane. Asia Pacific has the largest share by region by 32.3%. And also, within the time frame by 2026, more than 60% of the world's population will use an e-wallet. So that's crazy to think about, but this is also very beneficial for the entire space, because as we see a lot of these major networks and hubs like Tranglo be adopted, it's a domino effect that also provides a lot of value and volume pushed through on-demand liquidity, for an example. Now, this also happens to be at the same exact time that we are now getting an immense amount of pressure being put on banks by the EU. And this is to adopt instant payments. The clock is already ticking. This is the time bomb, right? These mandates and these regulations around instant payments are going to drive more and more adoption of new technology services to realize in these efficiencies. Because where are you going to tap into instant settlement or instant payment services without tapping into these new fintech companies, or just we'll just say blockchain based payments, right? If you're not tapping into that, you're missing out, and you're not going to be able to hit the deadline or any of the efficiencies that need to be in place by the deadline. This is something that I've been watching for, and regulations and mandates also kind of fit the narrative around a few things within the space I've talked about in the past. It provides an incredible opportunity for any of these projects that are compliant, that are working with regulators, that are at the forefront of these major game-changing innovations, even around payments as a service, for an example. But this also kind of fits the narrative around cross-border payments. Over here, there was a great video posted by High Vibe Assets, and this is XRP holders take a listen. Cross-border payments is set to reach $300 trillion overnight. The XRP ledger will have massive liquidity rails in every financial jurisdiction. CBDCs will need a bridge, XRP, and check this out.
Is doing. Coming to CBDCs, why I am saying it is very important, because there are several, there are now several new animals or birds, whatever you call them, they're floating around under various names. Somebody calls it stable coins, somebody calls it cryptocurrencies. Our point of view is that let us be very careful in interpreting and understanding what consequences they have. On stable coins, the basic fundamental question that arises is, the fundamental question that begs an answer is whether governments and central banks are comfortable with private currency. Currency is a sovereign function which the sovereign delegates to the central bank in countries like India. So therefore, are we comfortable with private currency? So therefore, these new technology products which are coming and styling themselves as great innovation, their financial consequences, their negative consequences for domestic financial stability, for global financial stability, for domestic monetary system, for the global monetary order, all that needs to be understood. And we have published, RBI, I have myself spoken about it, so I'm not going to list out what are the potential threats. Right. They pose a threat, all kinds of threats, terror financing, money laundering, apart from, currencies like emerging market currencies, which will sort of cause the central bank itself will lose control over the monetary system. There are lots of challenges, and this can become, these are highly risky. Now, we don't want that kind of a thing. In fact, on such matters, whether it is stablecoin or it is cryptocurrencies or whatever you call it, I think we need to fully understand what are the risks before sort of trying to legitimize them. We need to know before entering the water how many sharks are there inside the water. I think that is how I would put it in a very commonplace language and very bluntly. Now, so therefore CBDC is important. The world is moving towards technology, and CBDCs have a major role because CBDC can really facilitate.
Now, on the next slide, this continues, but the big thing to focus on here is CBDCs are happening. They are inevitable. They will need a bridge. They will 100% need a bridge currency behind them as well. This is also what Ripple is kind of doing. And this kind of really takes me to what the Bank for International Settlements is also trying to achieve with tokenization. Tokenization of, CBDCs or stable coins or anything, they're trying to look into how can we make cross-border payments efficient. And it's all through tokenization. But remember, all of the key things that are being pushed right now around the XRP ledger and what Ripple is focused on. But let's continue on this video in the next slide as well.
Moving towards technology, and CBDCs have a major role because CBDC can really facilitate efficient, cost-effective, and faster payments across jurisdictions. For cross-border payments, for cross-border transactions, CBDC can provide the solution. Even today, time is taken. Bank-to-bank transactions do take time. In fact, there is a cost. According to the latest estimates of the World Bank and others, still remittances cost about on an average 6% is the total cost for remittances. Now 6% is very high. It needs to go down. In today's technology era, it needs to go down. So CBDC can provide a solution to make cross-border payments faster, more efficient, and cost effective. In India, Reserve Bank, we started the wholesale CBDC pilot project in November last year, and the retail mode we started in December. In the wholesale, initially we started with secondary market trading in government securities. Now we are extending it to overnight money markets, that is the wholesale segment. In the retail segment, we have now millions of customers who are enrolled into the pilot project. Almost every bank has been onboarded. The trials are going on. It's a learning experience for us. And the learning process has been very satisfactory. And every day there are new challenges which come. We try to understand what is the problem. So we are really taking it forward in a manner. And on this, we are in active discussion also with other countries which are carrying out similar efforts. So now it's just about going to be a year of our 1 year of our CBDC pilot project. The learnings have been excellent, and more than what it was 1 year ago, we are even more convinced that CBDC can prove to be the most effective and efficient mode for cross-border payments in particular, other than, of course, domestic transactions. And this is not something which is very difficult. In fact, in India, we have a small, vegetable vendors who have been enrolled into this CBDC pilot project. Fruit shops, small vegetable vendors, they're all onboarded.
So there you guys have it. And again, as he's really talking about CBDCs, this might make a lot of people uneasy because, again, CBDCs, everyone has their own idea on this. But the recent project from the BIS was focused on, tokenization around wholesale payments. This is with major banks, and it's collaboration with the private sector as well. This is all on one big project for tokenization of cross-border payments, but it's all through tokenization technically of CBDCs. And it kind of makes me think about all of the stepping stones that are being put in place around the XRP ledger. For an example, there was a great post made by Bree Madigan. Now, for those that don't know who this is, let's actually go look at her previous experience on LinkedIn. So here's her LinkedIn page. Here's her experience. So she started initially at Goldman Sachs back in 2003. She was there for about 10 years and 8 months. Then she started working there yet again. This is just in a different position. This was for an additional 3 years and 8 months. So overall, she was there for well over 14 years. But then we see the next position, which was at Blockchain, head institutional sales and strategy, and then Ripple for 2 years and 2 months. And this is VP, head global institutional markets. One frictionless experience to send money globally. And this is even, how they mentioned blockchain.com losing Goldman Sachs veteran to Ripple. Regardless, after that, positions were taken at other locations. But regardless, this is a post from her on X talking about, and this is just recently, April 7th, talking about JP Morgan around cross-border payments. We have impressive. JP Morgan aims to tap into $120 billion worth of value in cross-border payments. See how they plan to achieve this with an automated market maker. It's getting interesting. And here we have, let me open this up in a new tab just so you guys can see it. Let me zoom in. So here we have alternative liquidity provisioning models involving smart contracts based liquidity pool managers. And here we have this option allows entities that hold CBDCs on the corridor network, e.g. commercial banks and payment service providers, to stake them into the liquidity pools and currency pairs in return for a fee. Down here we have this is all through an automated market making, and liquidity pool managers refer to the white paper titled Liquidity Management in a Multi-Currency Corridor Network. This is very, very interesting because this is all including CBDCs, an AMM around FX, right? FX settlement of any currencies. Like, this is just very interesting to me. And again, this is being mentioned by a previous Ripple employee, hinting at the AMM. Does it mean anything? Not really, but at the same exact time that we are talking about cross-border payments, we're talking about major moves happening around e-wallets, and we're talking about pressure being put on major banks through these mandates and these regulatory moves. And also going back to the CPMI group with Ripple being the only crypto-based company on here, it's very, very interesting. And remember the other groups behind this. These are the member central banks of the CPMI group. Look at all of these big names. Now, also go back to who the banks were on this tokenization project. Just to put it into perspective, let me open this up in a new tab real quick, and let me look at the list. So the 7 central banks are the Bank of France, Bank of Japan, Korea, Mexico, Swiss National Bank, Bank of England, and the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Okay? Let's go back over here. Again, you have the Bank of Japan, you have the Bank of, well, let me go down the list all the way to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Here we have it. US, right? You have Bank of England on here. Like, every single major bank that's in this tokenization project is also on the CPMI group. Think about how crazy that is. Remember, this is all based around cross-border payments. Ripple is the only blockchain-based company on the CPMI group. This is all based around cross-border payments. Did I mention that enough? Over here, we have the world needs a better cross-border payments network. This was December 11th, 2023. This is all around global adoption of fast payment systems and how it's rising at a rapid pace. So now we need to interlink faster payment systems. Again, do I even need to mention Quant, right? But they mentioned the CPMI group multiple times on this. And by the way, this is months after Ripple already joined the CPMI group. This is back in August when Ripple joined the CPMI group. And there's 3 videos here. And it's all talking about the challenges and experiences in faster payment interlinking arrangements, linking fast payment systems across borders, considerations for governance and oversight, and then also opening remarks. Again, they've already been planning this. But it's so crazy to me that people don't realize how big of a move this all is. And as we start to see more and more pressure put on the global system and all of these major participants, they have to look at different technologies. They have to look at new technologies. CBDCs, tokenization of central bank currencies, that's going to happen. It's already in the process of happening. But when we look at cross-border payments, they're continuing to rise at a very, very rapid pace. $300 trillion overnight. I don't know if it's going to happen overnight, but it definitely is something. But the time bomb has already been ticking, right? And it's these mandates. Banks need to start moving. They need to start making a decision. And almost every single bank out there will have to adapt or die. I've said this on multiple occasions, and I will continue to say it because they need to. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.